What's up, everybody? We are back again with another Game Over, Play It Again. But this week, instead of going over a game, we are going to do a movie.
Yeah, we'll do
And
something a little different. I think it'll be fun.
yeah,
Of course, the movie's game related though.
it is related. The Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993 is the one we're going to discuss. And, this thing has a cult following like you wouldn't believe. And I don't know that we're going to do it justice, but I don't know that that they did it justice. So we'll just have a fun recording. And of course, we're doing this on Discord, so if it seems a little bit different, then that's why it is. So what's going on?
Oh, not too much. Just another day. Woke up feeling a little under the weather. Have something going on with my throat and my nose, but other than
Well,
that,
knock that shit off. Nobody likes to be sick. Not on a beautiful weekend.
no. And well, thankfully it's the last day of the weekend. But of
No,
course,
I could use 5 more. Oh shoot!
I agree.
Well, do you want to just dive into this game since you're not feeling up to snuff?
Yeah. We'll just jump right into it here. It really is something.
It is. So I watched this movie back in the theater when it came
Really?
out. Yeah, so I would have been a junior in high school, and I was thinking, "Oh man, this is gonna be so cool!" It's gonna be great. And when, yep, watched it in the theater. That's where we'll start with that.
So it didn't live up to your expectations for the time?
Well, you want to, when you go to a movie like that, you want to see your characters come to life.
Right.
And boy, did they.
Yeah, they did.
It is live action. And the funny thing is, they had the cartoons out.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make a full length movie with the cartoons, and it never came to fruition. But these guys went out on their own and decided, hey, Mario's really big, we should make a movie. And that's awesome. But I don't know that they had hardly anybody who ever played the game in it, other than knowing what the characters were.
I would say that's a pretty accurate description of what happened in this movie. And surprisingly, at the time that the movie came out, it had a decent budget for the 90s. I mean, it was budgeted around $40 to $48 million.
Well, but they really needed to spend that money elsewhere then. I don't know, man. It is what it is. I rewatched it Friday night just to for this episode, so I could have I wasn't trying to go off of memory, because this is a great movie to leave in your memory. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to watch it again just because it is what it is. But it was hard to find.
It was very hard to find. Find for free, anyways.
Well, and I don't want to sound like I'm that cheap, but at the same time, this isn't a movie I'm going to watch over and over and over again. Spoiler alert for when it comes time to grade this. But at the same time, if I watched it, once every 5 years, I'd have an appreciation for what we do have now.
Sure. Really helps bring things into perspective.
Yeah. But even on the YouTube channel, I was finding things where people were talking about it, but nothing over there. And it was that link that you sent me that I got to watch it, and that was fine. My computer screen's plenty big enough for a movie, so it's all good. But not quite what I was expecting. So go ahead.
This was my first time watching it, and it was not what I expected either. I had watched the cartoons that they had been doing for a while. I think I actually picked the DVD up when I was a kid at the dollar store in the Heights.
Sure.
And used to watch it all the time. Loved it. And so I had kind of hoped that it would be something a little more along those lines. But this was definitely more of like cheap superhero Mystery Men kind of themed movie. And I love the movie Mystery Men, but
Yeah. Well,
it was different.
and they did some actually pretty cool things in this movie. It's not that it's all crap, but it's what we had, and we had no choice to love it because it's all we had.
Right.
Other than the cartoons. Uh, and I would like to see them. I would actually like to see them remake that movie with the technology that we have today, and I think they could blow it out of the water.
I think they could too. I think that would be an interesting take on it.
Yeah, I mean they're remaking every damn thing else, so why not this one?
Might as well.
Well, we'll start at the very, very beginning. So, um, like I guess they really needed to cut this movie down, so they cut so much out of this movie. And one of the things they cut out was the beginning. And so instead of the original beginning that they had, they put in the kind of animation style voiceover with it's actually Dan Castella or Castanella or something. The guy who plays Homer Simpson is the guy who does the voiceover, and he does Grandpa and I think he does Moe and all the other characters in The Simpsons. He has that knack, and I watched that opening scene and I'm listening to it and I'm like, it sounds kind of familiar. You're not really putting it together. And then something I was watching on YouTube said, Homer Simpson. I'm like, oh, ha, ha, ha. So I Googled the cast, and sure as shit, he's right there.
That's amazing.
So I love it because it's not his Homer voice yet. Well, no, Homer Simpson. The Simpsons were out way before this, so he just changed up his voice a little bit.
Yeah.
But it did have that Homer-esque tone in it.
It does sound very familiar when you're listening to that opening scene.
Yeah. So I absolutely love that. 65 million years ago or whatever it is. But actually, I just jumped ahead of myself. The very, very beginning of this movie, before we get into that, is actually the Mario game soundtrack.
Yep.
So you think you're coming into this and you're, Super Mario, this is gonna be so cool, and then that's where it changes directions a little bit.
It's a pretty drastic change.
Well, it is, but it's, I don't know. So yeah, so we go back to Brooklyn 65 million years ago, where the meteor destroys all the dinosaurs, or so we thought, and whatnot. So basically, it's putting them in an alternate universe.
Yes.
So we have our Brooklyn, and they have their Brooklyn, and it was a choice. It truly was a choice. And then they moved to present day, where we have the Queen, who I actually thought was Princess Peach.
Okay, I thought she was as well.
Yeah, they never mentioned Princess Peach in this whole thing. And that's why I don't think that they knew what they had. But at this point in the timeline, she wasn't Princess Peach yet. I don't think she became Princess Peach until Mario 64.
Okay.
Because she was always Princess Toadstool.
Right.
So I don't know exactly when she became Peach for us, but so I just assumed that's who it was. But going back and watching it, they just never say her name. So all you can do is assume. But she's dropping off this petrified egg, so we think, to a bunch of nuns, banging on the door, and then she leaves. And it's actually the same gal playing the mom when we get to see that's baby Daisy that hatches, which is great. And later on in the movie, then you can see that it was the same actor, which makes sense. It's the mom, it's the daughter. But the nuns are just like, oh, it's an egg. Oh, it's hatching. It's a human girl. Huh. Okay. We'll just raise her.
Yeah, I don't think I would keep it.
those nuns must have seen some shit. I mean, if that didn't stun them at all, they were just okay with this baby girl popping out of an egg.
Man,
Those are some nuns I don't want to mess with.
definitely. I could only imagine what you'd see being a nun in Brooklyn in the 90s, though, that they really probably are not phased by much.
Well, yeah, and so it was like 20 years prior, so that would have actually been like the 70s, right? Because
Yep.
then it fast forwards to 1993 for all the characters. But yeah, but still, I mean, even in the 70s, that would be freaky.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to add up until this point?
I just I love the music that they use.
Oh,
There's
throughout the
nothing
whole movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's nothing super pressing that I want to use. I do think the mixture of the CGI and the animatronics and the puppetry is just absolutely amazing and could not be blended in any other better way.
Yeah. I wonder if they had Jim Henson in on some of the puppetry though. I mean, I don't know that it was, and I'm too lazy to research it, but it sure has his outlook, his feel on it, especially like when you bring out Yoshi.
Yeah, yeah. It really has his
You
spin
know,
on it.
it really truly does, and I absolutely love it. In fact, I mean Yoshi actually, um, he kind of fits in a weird spot in the movie. I know we're skipping ahead real far, but you know he kind of steals the show, and he only has the one line, and it's you know, but just the way he moves around, it's awesome. So I really like that. Okay, so we'll get back to this. So we have the Mario brothers. They're plumbers. They're supposed to be plumbers. They're struggling to make ends meet. Truck's breaking down. Luigi's driving. And I actually watched, one of those making of type videos.
Oh, sure.
And apparently the stunt drivers didn't show up or were late or whatever. So the guy who's playing Luigi's like, well, I can drive. And so you know how Mario's kind of like hanging on to the where the door is,
Mhm.
and he's just kind of going around like, "Oh, Luigi, slow down!" and da 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 da. So they wanted him to stop at a certain spot in the movie, and so he slams on the brakes, and the door slams on Mario's hand, the guy who plays Mario. And so if you rewatch the movie, they basically gave him a prosthetic hand and painted it flesh tone to make it look like his hand because his hand was actually in a cast or whatnot. So there was like a mold around the cast. So his hand's a little bit bigger.
I'm gonna have to go back a couple scenes and see if I can catch that.
Yeah, I didn't catch it, so I have to rewatch it just to see that also. But that's why, when you're saying that, they had all this money, this big ass budget to make this movie, it's like, really? And you couldn't get your stunt guys to be there? Really? Just kind of makes you wonder. But yeah, so Luigi's driving like a maniac. They break down. The van's on the side of the road. He's trying to fix the radiator. It goes in. Mario's all pissed off because he has to pay $3 for water, and that was in the '90s. Shit, it's still $3
Yeah.
for that same bottle.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Were they gouging back then, or are they just still gouging?
Probably still.
Still, yeah. But that's where Luigi meets Daisy for the first time. And I thought it was interesting that they picked Princess Daisy. Because Daisy doesn't come about for a very long time in the game timeline. I don't actually know when we see Daisy.
I thought that was kind of an interesting choice too. I mean, they really didn't follow the chronological order of the game or the game's character developments.
Yeah. Because I think Daisy came out in like Mario Tennis or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And or one of the Mario Karts, whichever one came first. But I don't believe those games were out when this movie was in production. So it's interesting that that's what was in the script.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we got the Koopa goons that have been following Daisy since she was at the dig site. So she's this archaeologist, and they're digging and whatnot. And so Spike and Iggy, which you got to love the fact that they're trying to use the names from the Koopa kids as in the game or in the movie. I mean, when you have King Koopa, he's sending out his nephews or kids or whomever to do this, which is kind of funny, But so they're sitting there stalking her, and Luigi's like, "Well, we can give you a ride, and yeah, let's hop in the creepy van with no windows and all this plumbing equipment with these two guys instead of getting kidnapped by these two morons that are running around."
Right, getting the creepy plumber van. I guess that's one way to pick up chicks.
Well, yeah, so which one's creepier? The two that are reading the newspaper, or the two that are actually kind of somewhat trying to help you?
Ugh.
And if a kid watched this movie today, what's a payphone?
Oh yeah.
What was the deal? Why was he checking his messages on a payphone? That sounds stupid.
Right. They have become a relic of the past.
Right. But anyway, so they end up helping her, and Mario and Luigi, they they're gosh, I can't even remember what the heck happens to them. Did they go back to the site? They get knocked out.
Yeah, something happens. They got knocked out, and then
Spike and Iggy take Daisy across in the pit there.
Yep.
Oh, I remember. They Scapelli was damaged the they were trying to flood the tunnel. So Mario and Luigi were fixing it. That's what it was. And then Spike and Iggy come out, knock him out, drag off Daisy, and they wake up and they track her down because they're tracking her screams. So they're kind of following her through the maze there, the tunnels, and those CGI effects were pretty cool.
They were pretty cool.
Her face coming through the wall there, and then that's how they get that piece of the meteorite, so they too can go through the porthole. And I thought that was pretty cool.
It was cool, and it was interesting because like that scene in particular, that's a pretty iconic moment in the movie, and this movie did have a fair share of those. But then they also had some where it looked like they spent their entire special effects budget on lunch.
Right? Oh, it's too funny. And then, of course, we cut scenes, and we go to King Koopa, which it's not the first time we see him, because we see him kill the queen, don't we?
I believe we do, yes.
And are those the bones, the bones that that Daisy's uncovering? Are those the bones of the queen? Or, like she reverted back to a dinosaur stage once she was killed? It's kind of curious.
That's a good thought.
Right, because King Koopa has this machine that he can make people more intelligent, or he can send them back to their primal state. So instead of being a big T-Rex or Lizard King, sorry. Instead of being the Lizard King, he's more human. And I kind of like the fact, so many things are going into this movie. The Max Headroom look for King Koopa. That is a choice. I actually don't mind the choice, especially for the time period. But when he gets shoved into the I can't remember what the machine is called, but basically where he can mutate him back or forward. I think that would have been phenomenal had he had a little bit more lizardness come out, especially at that point. His face changes a little bit. We get the spot where, he's showing his tongue to Daisy, because he's trying to be seductive and whatnot. That couldn't be more creepy. Maybe she was into that. We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know Daisy's kind of kink.
they don't specify. I'm
They
not
don't.
gonna try it on Haley though. So
No, oh, I know. I not no. Well, I don't know. You get a Gene Simmons tongue, you might be able to pull something off.
yeah, maybe.
But it's so funny, and the fact that they got him to play King Koopa is just amazing in my book.
I agree, and I loved how flamboyant and over top the performance was. I don't think it could have been delivered any other way.
Okay, I don't know what I just pushed on this thing, but I don't know if we're still recording.
Look, Craig's still here.
Craig's still here?
Yeah.
God dang it. I touched something. Oh, there we go. I touched something on the wrong spot, and it just freaking, it's all over the place. Oh, you gotta love-hate technology here. But sorry, man. It's just one of those.
No, you're good.
One of those days. But yeah, to have Dennis Hopper in there playing Koopa is it's just so great, and his one-liners are great.
Oh yeah,
in the thing. Oh, so back to the van. Sorry, I'm hopping around a little bit here. But another thing I heard is that so the guy who plays Mario, Bob Hoskins, and then Luigi, they were actually drinking on the set.
That's amazing.
And the only way they could get through this movie is, I guess, to be just drunk. And I gotta watch it again to see if there's spots where they actually do seem drunk. But
yeah,
apparently, the anesthetic for crushing your hand is get some whiskey in you or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it works.
Maybe
that's the only way to get through watching this movie is to do it drunk.
Well, that's an option for sure. But yeah, no, I love it. And then all the fungus that's all around is supposed to be the king.
Yes.
So he got de-evolutionized or whatever you want to call it, and he goes all the way back to fungus. And it's always trying to help him. It's trying to give him the little bombs and the mushrooms and the these little artifacts. And Luigi's all for it, man. He's in the zone. And oh man, I got a feeling this is it. Oh hey, look, he's helping us.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mario's like, whatever, dude.
Which I thought was kind of an interesting take on the character dynamic, because I always kind of remember Luigi being the more like timid, hesitant one, kind of afraid of his own shadow.
Well, I think we get that from more of today's stuff. I don't think Luigi was necessarily supposed to be that. I think when they made the game, they needed another character for the two players, so they just made a red guy and a green guy, and that's just what it was. And of course, then they do Luigi's Mansion, so of course they got to have that feeling of him being scared. And that's probably where that comes from.
Could be.
But it wasn't until the Super Mario Brothers 2 that we had in the United States where we actually had a Luigi character that was different from Mario.
Yeah.
With his weird little jump and everything. But we're not going to go down that path again.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah. But yeah, so and then oh my god, my favorite line from the whole movie, one of Dennis Hopper's lines. It's when he's in the mud pit with his wife. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Where it's clean and it's dirty at the same time. I love that movie, and I've heard that quote in other, just in banter and whatnot, and I'm like, God, where do I know that from? That line's just in my head, and it's usually because we're saying something inappropriate. Oh, it's clean and dirty. No, it's not. And then when I rewatched this movie, I'm like, oh my God, that's where this is from.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's supposed to be a kid-friendly movie.
Yeah.
I
they
don't.
definitely stuck in some nuances there that point in a different direction.
Well, it's like and I don't care that we're moving around. We when they're in the club and what was it not Big Bertha, but well maybe that is her name. But the heavier set gal, she's got the
Mhm.
rock, and she puts it around her neck and everything, and Mario goes to seduce her and dance with her and everything, and he's trying to grab the stone out of her cleavage, and next thing you know, he's got a face full of boob, and nobody had a problem with that.
Nope, nope. Now, is this is the scene where they go into the big Goomba night shaped nightclub, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
when I saw that, that just absolutely sent me into another dimension. I could not stop laughing at that.
Oh, it's great, and the super boots and the everything, it just and they dressed her up like the big old fish from the game.
Hmm.
The what are they? The Cheap Cheeps.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like really, uh, you, you, when you think of a Cheap Cheep, you think of a big black woman. Got it.
It's the lips.
It's the lip, right? It's just great. Uh, and then of course, King Koopa's tired of his nephews bumbling up and everything. So they stick them in the chamber to turn them into lizards, and instead Koopa's like, no, we're gonna make you guys smart. So now they're kind of saying intelligent things, but they're still stupid.
Right.
you know. But yeah, when they're in that disco place, they're trying to help the Mario Brothers um, get through everything. Whereas before, they were just doing everything Koopa said.
Right. Kind of mindlessly following his orders and
Right.
being his
And
henchman.
then Toad. We got poor Toad in there. And I actually love the fact that he's out there and he's singing with his guitar, but why didn't they give him a mushroom hat or something? So we
I
knew.
was
I
kind
mean,
of
what's that?
Oh, I was say I was kind of disappointed that he didn't have more of a identifiable feature like the mushroom hat or
Well, he had that like spiral thing on with his hair,
yeah,
and then when he gets changed into a Goomba, he still has that pattern, which is cool. And then they give him the harmonica, um, and everything, so at least that that's Toad.
right.
But at the same token, yeah, there's so much they could have done there. But even like I said, a silly hat would have cinched it for so many people.
Totally.
And the fact that the Goombas are just so huge. They go in and they come out and they're 8 foot tall. And I just love it, and oh Goombas, and they're like, yeah, and and big, lethal, stupid. It's it's just perfect. And of course, so they got the Goombas, and then which have the little round uh, heads from Beetlejuice, which
Yeah.
is a horrible way to go. But and then there's like the lizard guys, and I don't know what they're supposed to represent. Are they supposed to represent like the turtles that are walking around in the game?
That's kind of what I assumed.
Yeah.
But with some of the character reflection that they had in this movie without having without them providing any context clues, it was kind of hard to decipher who was supposed to be who.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. Um, but oh yeah, and then when they're in the club, they have those guns. Don't those look like super scopes?
They do look like super scopes.
Which is perfect because I don't know that the Super Nintendo was out yet. I mean, it could have been. It could have been in development, but what if they weren't developing the Super Scope and they saw that, and that's where the thing came from, because that was a beast. I mean, it
It
didn't.
was.
I only had a couple games that it really worked on, but we played with it outside. We more than anything else, because it was kind of useless. There's just a couple games it really worked on, and even at that, they weren't exactly the best games. So we were out there screwing around, playing with those, not the way they were intended. But the fact that they have them in the movie is I just think it's awesome.
I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah. And then that little Babam, the little wind-up toy.
Oh, yes.
Good God. And the coolest thing about that is, he puts it down and everyone's like so terrified of this thing. And then drops to the manhole cover and it's walking through the tunnels and everything. And everyone kind of forgets about it. And then when it blows up, it's just freaking destroys everything.
Everything is a massive explosion.
Yeah. Oh, and then, since we're in New York with all this in Brooklyn, did you notice where Koopa's quote unquote castle, what it was?
I didn't.
It's the Twin Towers.
Really?
Yeah. So you have the Twin Towers, when they're in Brooklyn, you can see the Twin Towers off in the distance, and then when you're, in their world, that's his castle.
Wow. That's actually kind of cool.
It is. Like I said, I actually have to rewatch this thing again. Not today, probably not right away, but I do have to watch it again. So that probably bumps my score up a little bit, but that's okay. I know we hit on how difficult this movie was to find. It's like $5 to rent. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's $5. But do you know who owns this movie? Who owns the rights?
I don't.
I don't know at what point, but Disney actually owns it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it's a branch of Disney. It's one of their sister companies, if you will.
Sure.
But the fact that they can't put it on Disney Plus, I mean, they have so much other stuff on Disney Plus that's you would swear is not Disney.
Definitely.
But not this. That is Disney.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Well, and you found the movie in kind of an obscure part of the internet.
Yeah. I was kind of curious where the hell you found it.
So I found it on a website called Internet Archive.
Yeah. No, I saw that, and I was like, what the hell is this? All right, I'll watch it, but, am I going to, now all the other files on my computer are going to be corrupt.
Right. Are you going to...
From the porn this time.
All of a sudden win a free iPad or have hot single locals in your area ready to meet you?
Oh, yeah. No, they're definitely ready to meet me. The problem is they're dudes. I got the Temu edition.
The Temu edition. The chat edition.
Right. That's horrible. But yeah, no, I thought it's pretty cool that Disney actually got involved in this movie of all things, because it's not kid friendly.
No, not at all. That's
not that all their stuff has to be kid friendly, but that's what we think of.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. And I know this is a little off topic from the movie, but that's not the first time that Disney has done something strange like that. Are you familiar with the band The Insane Clown Posse?
No.
So the Insane Clown Posse, or known as ICP, were a group of horrorcore rappers that were super prevalent in the mid to late 90s into the early to mid 2000s. And I mean, like, it's everything but Disney. They're talking about, killing people with chainsaws and things like that. And it's rap music.
Okay.
And they were actually signed to Disney's record label. Their album, The Great Milenko, came out on Disney's record label.
Jeez.
So just a little side note of Disney doing some interesting things. But check them out sometime. I think you will be horrified.
Oh, thanks. Oh, shoot. But yeah, I mean, just their cast for this movie is actually, I mean, they weren't exactly top notch back then, but they weren't bad.
No, and to see where some of the people that were casted in this movie have gone with their careers today has been kind of an interesting observation.
Yeah. Well, see, they wanted King Koopa. They were going for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he turned
That
it
would have been
down.
amazing.
Oh, it would have been a completely different movie. I mean, Dennis Harper. Sorry, not Harper. I've been watching too much Two and a Half Men. Hopper. Uh, I thought he did a great job with this, and the banter that the Mario brothers actually have, and they have the great line, "I'm Mario Mario," and the cop looks at Luigi and goes, "What's your name?" Luigi, and he goes, Luigi, no, Luigi Mario. Yeah, it's like it's just so they're actually making fun of the game with that little snippet. And then the gentleman that plays the king, at the very
Mhm.
very end, when they switch him back, and he's human again, um, he barely had any lines in the movie,
Right.
but and um, no, I don't know. It's just one of those movies. It's fun to watch. I thought it was fun to watch as a
I
kid watching it in the theater. I was mortified because it is so not what I was hoping for, and I think a lot of people were the same way.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see where as a kid, you get there and it starts out with that Mario music and you think this is going to be some super epic action-packed Mario film, and then it turns out to be this dark dystopian Tim Burton-esque live action
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Well, I know it's not on the same realm, but it's I'm a huge Dukes of Hazzard fan, and I have been, and I always will. Watching John Snyder and Tom Wopat. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And of course, the star of that show is the General Lee.
Oh yeah.
So then they remade the movie with oh shit, Jackass guy, Johnny Knoxville and
Oh
Stifler, Sean.
yeah, Stifler.
Hughes. Well, that's how I refer to him, as Jackass and Stifler. But I mean, the car's there. The car's still cool, but it wasn't what I wanted.
Right.
I like the movie. I like the movie just fine. The orange car goes everywhere I want it to go, and that's cool. But the fact that you got those two dipshits in there really does nothing for me.
You got those two dipshits.
Well, I don't. Neither one of them are gonna endorse this podcast, so we're fine.
Yeah, I
Um,
suppose we don't need to worry too much.
and then of course, we're in all these remakes. They actually remade. They had like a prequel for the Dukes of Hazzard where they're kids,
Okay.
and that movie was actually better than the one that they did with Knoxville and um, Jessica. Um, Holy shit! I don't see. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this today. Simpson, is it Simpson?
Oh,
No.
Jessica Simpson. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Jesus Christ. Um, well, she was actually fun to look at in that
I was
show.
gonna say, how could you forget Jessica Simpson?
Well, yeah. All of a sudden, the music video of her watching the General Lee popped in my head, and the blood flow left one
Started
brain
going
and went to the
elsewhere.
other. Yeah, right. And I'd say dirty old man, but I'm just old. Oh shoot, dude. Um, I don't know how much more I want to talk about this movie. What do you have anything before we close?
It's I I I don't really know what else to say about it. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Right.
Um,
Oh, and Princess Daisy's cute.
yes,
in this. Holy crap! They couldn't have
Yes.
picked a better person for her.
No, they
I think
did a
that's the
good
only
job.
reason why all of us teenagers wanted to keep watching the show over and over and over again. Yeah, it's not like she's wearing anything super, you know, risque or anything like that. I mean, she's got that wholesome look.
She does. She really has an aura about her in the film that is
Yeah.
really captivating.
Yeah. Well, and to talk about her just a little bit more, you know, so she gets captured by Koopa because, you know, that's what the princess does. I don't know why. You know, and they put her in her outfit, whatnot, and you know, they could have done so many things. They could have done the whole Star Wars Princess Leia outfit, you know, but they kept it pretty modest.
They did.
And one of the great scenes I like, it's when we do see Yoshi and her, and he's chained up, and she's sitting there saying how, you know, oh, we're both prisoners here. You know, she was doing all the dialogue, and Yoshi just had to sit there and kind of make little noises. And well, because that's what he is, you know. And it wasn't until heck, you don't even see Yoshi's tongue come out until the queen comes in to well, I don't know if it's the queen, Koopa's wife.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what she would be considered. You know, she comes in and she goes to kill Princess Daisy and instead ends up trying to hurt Yoshi. And you know, that's the only time we really see Yoshi do anything aggressive. Otherwise, you know, he's a pet, if you will.
Right.
So I thought that was a pretty good part in the movie. But
yeah, I thought so too. It was a good scene.
Yeah. But yeah, with all those good scenes, there's plenty of not so good scenes.
Yeah.
All right, but I think I'm done rambling on this. So instead of, you know, game erase, game fail, game over, gameplay again, you know, they're movies. So is this a movie erase, movie fail? Is it a game over? What the hell would that be? Movie over. I'm not playing it again. Watching it again, I guess. The 70 to 79, which I was considering coming in at, is our gameplay. It's worth playing, so it'd be game watch. And then we got 80 to 89 would be a watch again. And unfortunately, I got to be at that. I'm going to give it an 80 with an asterisk because I do want to watch it again. And that puts it at a B. But really, this is a C movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so our scale gives a lot to be desired, but I will watch this movie again. And after watching some of the things I watched on the YouTube channel, I do want to watch it again for those little things. Like, I want to see if I can tell his hands jacked.
Right.
Because they do that little thing with their hands. You know, the little, hey, we're going to go kick some ass, you know, blah, blah, blah. and that's kind of cool. So I don't know if it must be the other hand that's jacked up. You know, they're always doing it on the one side there. You know, and like when he's firing the gun, he had, like, they basically secured the gun in his hand to make it look real. Like strapped it to his cast or whatever. You know, so yeah, I'll be at a high C, a low B on this one.
That's fair.
How about you?
I was originally going to be at a D.
Yeah.
But after doing this podcast episode, chatting with you, and hearing about some of the hidden elements in the movie, I'm gonna have to give it a movie watch again.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Well,
and I'm gonna give it the lowest 80 that I possibly can.
I know, dude. That's exactly where we're at the same spot. You know, which is fine. You know, I was kind of hoping you'd come in. Dude, I love this. This is my newest favorite movie ever. Or that you would just totally fucking hate it. You know.
Yeah.
We're too much on the same wavelength when it comes to
That's
these
true.
Which is not all bad. but I'm glad we did this. These recordings they're fun to do with you. Even if nobody freaking listens to these, it's just fun to bullshit for no reason.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Yeah, it's just a good time for me. But as we all know, life isn't getting any easier. So it was nice to sneak this one in.
Yes.
I actually want to do a couple of these. I'd love to do Pixels. I'd love to do the Turtles. And it's kind of a catch-22 because next summer I would love to actually do a Patreon thing where we're doing movies or cartoons or something. It's just with everything going on this year, it's just a little tough, and I'm not quite ready to go down that rabbit hole. And when our viewers, our listeners are up at a decent number, it would make sense to do tangible things. But to do a couple of these, I think would be really fun. And that's not to say we couldn't revisit this, on an episode like that, on a Patreon thing. But no, I'm glad we did this. I'm glad I had a chance to rewatch the movie. Because I totally left this back in the mid 90s. I truly did. I think I've seen it 3 times now. Maybe 4. That one in the theater, and then it's probably been on TV a couple times, and I've watched it, and then watching it for this the other night. It's not something I had on VHS because I didn't love it back then, but it's not bad.
Well, it sounds like you have a newfound appreciation for it.
I actually, what really cinched it for me was watching the YouTube video. There's a guy. There's 2 guys, and what they did is, and I would love to plug them, but I'd have to go find it again. But basically what it was is they're like, go grab your DVD copy or your digital copy, or heaven forbid you should have it on VHS still, which I absolutely loved it when they said that, because that would have been me back then. And we're going to count it down, 3, 2, 1, hit play type thing. And then, so they're, because they don't have the rights, so they can't exactly show it on their YouTube channel. But the fact that you're watching it with them, and they're kind of, oh yeah, and hey, remember this, and blah blah blah, and of course they've seen this movie a gazillion times, and they are not shy to spew all over it. And it's so I watched that for I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, and then Tommy came out to the garage, and he needed to change oil on his car, so he turned down the. Really, does it have to be that loud? Well, yeah, it does. So it's all good. But I just I wanted to be as prepared for this as I could, and so that's why I went down that road. And then it's like, oh shit, now I gotta watch it again.
Right. So, see if you can find all the hidden things.
Right. Because I mean, there's so much room in this movie to look for things. It really truly is. Yeah. But so this is going to be episode 17.
Yep.
And that's going to go live on the 10th. So we need something for the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure that out. And I'm thinking either episode 20 or 21, we might have to do a ranking.
I think episode 21 would be good to do a ranking.
Yeah. And then, do we do our top 10 and our bottom 10? Or, we got to figure that out. I found a way to, for us to, basically we just have to type them in order, 1 through 20.
Right.
And then in Excel, you can do a spreadsheet, and you can get the like if I give something a 5 and you give it a 15, it'll average it out to 10. But then if you have 3 10s, then you got to know which order to put it in and whatnot. So you can actually do that in Excel, which is cool. I watched how to do it. I kind of half-assed did it, So now I just need all the data so I can do it for real. And what a great way to hit that off. I know we have some big games that I want to work on. Astrobot's one of them.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be in this first set of 20 because that's obviously going to be a fun one for me. And I sit there and I think, I know we talked offline a little bit about this, but do you talk about how good the podcast was? Do you talk about how good the ratings are, or do you talk about how good the game is? And so that's a lot of things. Our podcast recording could actually be pretty good on a shitty game.
Oh yeah.
So that's something that we're going to have to do, and maybe we score it both ways. Because I know that how much you love RC Pro-Am. I know that's going to be your top game if we're talking about the game. But, maybe that episode wasn't as great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, it is what it is. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. And if it's 21, it's 21. If we move it around a little bit, it's not really going to make much difference if we move it around. But those are just some of the things that we got kind of cooking for upcoming events. I don't want to do a bunch of movie reviews, like I said at this time, But if we throw one in every 20 or so, let's just kind of see how this goes and get some feedback. And go from there. If the people like this, great. If they think it's the dumbest thing ever, either way, let us know.
Yeah.
And still give us the 5 stars because that helps. But let us know what you think. Some upcoming games that we should be playing. We'll just kind of go from there.
I like it. Yeah, if you're gonna leave a negative comment, at least give 5 stars.
Right. All right, bud. Well, I got some stuff I got to get done today, so I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right, bye.